Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today, we are going to be talking about how I organize my kids' toys so that they actually know how to clean them up. The issue with kids cleaning is not usually a behavioral issue. It is a systems issue. There's too many toys. There is not a clear storage system, and they become very overwhelmed with the current state of things, which I can relate to because that definitely happens to me as well. As parents, I really feel like our job is not to be constantly cleaning up after our kids, but creating systems and teaching them how to fall into those systems. I feel like long term, that sets them up for success. And what we're not achieving here is perfection. My playroom is not clean all the time. In fact, most days it's very messy. But by the end of the day, we've been able to get into a habit where the kids can pick up and clean up, for the most part, all by themselves. I think there's a mixture of developmental readiness, like how old they are, and having good systems in place so they know what to do when they are ready to do it. The best part of this whole video is I'm gonna put my own systems to the test. This morning, my kids went to the trampoline park with Tyler so I could film this video. And I told them, you're only allowed to go to the trampoline park if you go upstairs and clean up your playroom, because they didn't do it last night and it was a mess this morning. And I have a camera up here. So we are able to see how well they were able to clean up. We'll go through the space and we'll audit it and see how they did. And a quick thank you to our sponsor today, ButcherBox. I've been using them the last 2 months, and it feels like Christmas when my box of meats arrives at my door. They have the best bacon. I love their bacon. Protein is a very big staple of my kids' diet and our family's diet, and to have really clean, great quality cuts coming to our door, ready for me to defrost and to make a delicious meal. It's so convenient as a mom. I really trust that they're providing meats and fish that are minimally processed. They are not treated with antibiotics or hormones, and they're just really clean meats. It has brought my grocery bill lower when I go to the store every week, which feels good. And then I know exactly what I'm spending on meat every single month when it is able to arrive at my door. Comes frozen, put it right in the freezer, and then I plop it in the fridge when I want to defrost it for the next day. It's very easy, it's very clean, and it's very delicious. If you guys use my code Sharrah60, you guys can find the link below. Click that link and Sharrah60 will give you $60 off across your first 3 boxes. And usually they have some sort of promo going on every single month where you'll get a free selection of either bacon or something like that for the entire year when you sign up with that code. So go ahead and check them out, and let's get into today's video. Okay, let's go look around the playroom and do a little audit of how my kids cleaned up this morning. Step number 1, more toys equals more mess. Less toys equals more play. So far, the book section is looking really tidy. I think they get an A+ on this. So if you have every single toy that you have out for them to see visually, they're gonna be overwhelmed. And most of the time, you guys may have heard this as parents, they'll say, I don't have anything to do, I'm bored, there's nothing to play with, and they have a room full of toys. And it's because visually they're just overstimulated and overwhelmed. Also, when you have too many toys out, it can become an absolute mess where they aren't able to clean up because it's just such sensory overload for them, they don't even know where to start. So this is an area that I'm noticing is not organized well, and that's because these are all of Jenny's toys, and I have not yet marked the bin for Jenny's new toy bin. I am proud though that my son knew to pick it up and put it on the shelf, and now I can put a label on this box and I can tell them exactly where these things go. Number 2, everything has a clear place. It has its own home. So if it doesn't have a home, if it doesn't have a place that it's supposed to be in, then it's gonna end up on the floor and they're not gonna know what to do with it. I will say I do have some categories that are like really rare. So for us, we don't have a lot of action figures or like character toys. They have a Buzz, they have a Woody, they have a Mike Wazowski. I'm trying to think what else, maybe some Paw Patrol toys. We have way more books and we have way more trucks and way more Legos than we do those other things. So it doesn't really deserve its own big bin because there would only be like 5 things in it. So I do have little small bins that I'll show you that kind of is a free-for-all, everything goes in there. And I think it's kind of good to have a basket or a bin that if you don't know where it goes, you put it in that random miscellaneous bin then I will go through it and put it somewhere. Or I'll explain now to Sawyer that he's older and I'll say, hey, this particular thing can go in this bin with the trucks. Like the Paw Patrols can go with their Paw Patrol cars in the cars bin. And I'm able to explain the home for where everything goes. The other big ticket, if you have kids who do not read, I made this mistake. I made labels for everything thinking, I'll put car books go here and Legos go here and Magnetiles go here so everyone knows where it goes. And then I'm like, you're 3 years old, they don't know how to read. They don't know that says Magnetiles. So then I went on my label maker, and I'll link the one that I use, and I found little graphics that would kind of, some of them don't exactly line up, but they look similar to it, that my kids can see that little car. There's like a car, an airplane, a truck. So they can read the little images and they know that's the car bin, and they remember where it goes. They also kind of remember that like the middle bucket over here is the Magnetile bucket. It always goes there, so just like by association, they'll know where it goes. But using words mixed with images on a label is the best way to go. Number 3, make it easy, not perfect. Whatever age your kids are, your storage system needs to match with their developmental age. I'm talking bins, have no lids, they pull it out, they push it in. If you look in the Magnetile bin right now, it's chaos, and that's okay. But it's easy, it fits their developmental age, they know to pull out that car bin and throw anything that has wheels and or wings goes in that bin. Cars, trucks, whatever. If it's a big truck, like a tow truck or a fire truck, and it's a honker of a truck, then it goes on the shelf, and they know that. See, this is kind of an example of like, it's a mess. This is usually Brody's domain. For his age, this is really good because everything made it back over here. For Sawyer's age, I would expect him to put everything in here and then to open these little side drawers and put them in like that. For Brody, he could do it if I was here kind of coaching him. I don't think he would be able to do that on his own yet. So this is, I'd like to see this a little cleaner. That's something I can work on with Brody. But I'm really proud of him for getting everything back over to this section. So he knew this was the tool zone, that's where they go. Kids need fast cleanup. They do not need perfect organization. This is something I've had to work on. This is where having a miscellaneous bin is actually really helpful for them in this phase right now in their age. Sometimes they don't remember where it goes. They don't know what to do with it. So rather than leave it on the floor, they have a bin inside this cabinet. They can throw everything random in there. And then later, again, I can review it with them. I can put it away for them. They did the majority of the pickup. That's good enough for me. Also, open bins are easier than lids. I made the very bad mistake of thinking Sawyer was capable of doing lids at this age for his art supplies. In fact, the art supplies I really need help with. Anybody that has tips on the best way to organize art supplies, put them in the comments. The art section of this room, like literally, I feel rage lifting in my spirit when I walk up here and I see the art table, because it is an absolute dumpster fire every day. And then I just come in here with the trash bag and just start throwing stuff away when they're not in here, and nobody notices. So that's kind of been my strategy so far. But I think there's a way to improve, and I think my first step is the bins I have that have, you know, things like sequins and puffballs and like all these random things. I put them in boxes with lids thinking that's good. So far that hasn't been the best strategy because it still ends up everywhere. Lids are not good, bins are better. We'll get to the crafts later. Number 4, I use visual simplicity. I try to keep things in boxes. That keeps it feeling clean and easy. I also try to keep, the only thing on the shelf over here are big trucks, and we limit it to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 big trucks. If we ever accrue more than 5, that's when I'll swap some in, swap some out. I'll pay attention to the ones Brody's not really playing with. Brody loves the trucks. I also try to keep our shelves relatively bare, and I put toys up there that I know they're not gonna wanna grab on their own very often. So things like school-based toys that are learning-based that they don't necessarily grab without me provoking it. I put their timer on the shelf. I try to keep it very bare and very clean because, like I said, if it feels simplistic, it's gonna be easier to grab a toy and play with it. If there's 100 things out and it's messy, unorganized, it's going to feel overwhelming, and they're just gonna turn away and go find something else and tell you they have nothing to do. But when your kids start saying that stuff, that's a message to you that you need to improve your systems and give them a way to simplify. Number 5, we have zones here. So we've got our book zone over here. We have the nugget couch over here. They love bringing that out, building forts. You can't really see it, but in that bin, there's like a basket on top that has these little sticks that they can put together, and they can build an actual house with like a tent. Behind the camera here, we have our art table section. That's where we need a lot of help. Right now it's a little scary. And then I have in the middle here, I have some closed like cabinets. And that's where a lot of our games go, anything that's like a box. So if we have, again, a game with small pieces, we keep the box that it comes in and it kind of goes on the shelf in the box. We also have some bins in there. That's usually where our miscellaneous bins go. The kids know to grab that bin if they've got a bunch of random things on the floor. Like if you ever did Love Every is great, but it often comes with little pieces. And then over in those bins over there are it's kind of like our toy section. So that's where we have Legos, that's where we have puzzles, that's where we have cars, costumes are in that box over there. And then we kind of have our like fort building materials over on this side. Keeping it in zones also helps them compartmentalize. They decide what they want to play with, they know where to go, and things are simplistic, organized, easy access, and manageable to clean up in the end. Number 6, I kind of already mentioned this, but rotation is key. Now, I don't do rotation like every month. I know people that are on it with rotation, and I think maybe when you have little kids, that's easier, or maybe you're just a better mom than me, I don't know. But I love doing rotation, kind of like when the weather changes, I switch their clothes out, I kind of switch some toys out, and it's a really great way to keep things simplified without having to get new stuff. It feels like they get the new stuff without it being actually new and then overconsumption. Just this last week, I pulled out some puzzles and some art stuff and some random little toys that I had, and Brody was just like, oh my gosh, Mom, I remember this, but he doesn't remember, but he does, and he's so excited to play with it. It keeps things feeling new without having to get new things. To recap on what we talked about, and also to give you a few extra nuggets, 3 things I don't do, okay? I don't expect perfect organization from my kids. I give them lots of grace, and I know it's not going to be as if a housekeeper came up here and a robot just perfectly organized everything. But I do expect them to try. I also do not create systems that only work for adults. Like I said, putting just letters on a label is not gonna work. You have to find ways that your kids will understand what the system is and what you've created. Using images, teaching them by repetition, in the beginning cleaning with them, making it very easy without lids. Those are all things that are developmentally appropriate for their age if they're under 5, and helping them clean along the way so that way one day they can do it on their own. And the third thing that's super important is I do not keep toys that we do not use. I have literally gotten rid of big toys that at first were like, oh, we can't get rid of that because they were expensive, and you know, we bought a grocery store for Sawyer when he was 2 years old. He's 5 now. They have used it for 3 years. It was a great toy. They don't use that toy anymore. We had some workers at the house who had little kids, and I'm like, hey, do you want to take this grocery store for your kid? Because they would actually use it, and they did. It gave me simplicity because I had a huge chunk of the playroom that was now empty, and it was really good for them to see we can donate our toys to kids who might actually love and enjoy it, and it kind of teaches them that side of things too, of like sharing and being generous with the things that they've been blessed with to pass it on to other kids. When the system works, the cleanup becomes easier. The goal is not perfection, and ultimately, if you guys are able to create a simple, clean, organized system for your kids, I think you will have peace of mind because your kids will feel empowered to actually be independent and put those things away, which makes everybody happier. And it gives them a sense of pride because they did it all by themselves. Sawyer is so excited that he knows how to come up here and actually clean. He can earn stickers for it. They got to go to the trampoline park. I love telling my kids, yes, we can go to the trampoline park as soon as we clean up the playroom. Okay guys, I hope that you guys loved this video. Leave me a comment below if you have any ideas on helping me with my art table here and how to make it a little bit more efficient. I'm kind of thinking the answer is just take like everything away and only give him crayons and paper until he wants to do an art project that involves glue and all the other things. It's just too much. I need to work on that. If you guys have questions or you want to see more toy organization or playroom organization or just anything in the motherhood realm, leave me a comment below. You guys requested this video and it was really fun to make it. So I hope that you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys next time. Love ya. Bye-bye.